We are joined once again by Mike Bako. He's sports editor at the website dailynational.com. Mike, let's talk athletes and logistics. How challenging, if at all, will it be to move these teams in and out of venues for warm-ups, for practices, and then for the competitions? Will they get as much time on the ice or on the snow as they did pre-COVID?
In a word, very difficult. It's going to be a logistical nightmare to get all of these athletes not intermingling, not only with other competitors, but also with other country team members, getting them to these venues. We've been talking about this closed loop system. So there is an intricate system of getting people onto buses, onto the high-speed rails to get out to the events. When they do get to these events, keeping them separate, and in certain circumstances, not allowing them to do their normal warm-ups, not allowing them to do their normal in-between events trainings. Obviously, they're going to have some partitions set up where they will be able to stay loose, stay limber. But for a lot of these athletes, they're used to these rhythms over their training lives. They've oftentimes been training for this since their young teenage years, sometimes even before. So this is really going to break up their rhythm. But one of the things that we've been reporting on is that knowing how these Olympic Games were going to take place, seeing what happened with the Tokyo Games just this past summer, a lot of athletes have been training to be sequestered, to not have those opportunities to get in practice runs, to be able to do things in between their events. So it's going to be different from what they're used to. But if you're a finely tuned athlete, you've been training for this and training for this situation for the last 8 months or so.
Great point to make there about the training. What will be the most popular events to watch? Any big storylines to keep your eyes on?
Well, certainly when it comes to the Winter Olympics, all eyes are going to be on figure skating. All eyes are going to be on the highs and lows of the emotions. You think about someone like Nathan Chen, who had a crash and burn incident in the 2018 games, where a highly rated teenager coming in with high hopes for gold, much like he's coming in this go around, but he finished 17th. That was a huge crash and burn. The Olympics, summer and winter, are all about the emotions. They bring in the non-fans. Not many people are following figure skating. Not many people are following freestyle skiing and know who Eileen Go is, how her story of being born in San Francisco but having a Chinese mom and racing for the Chinese team. So it's those sorts of inspirational stories, those sorts of human interest stories that draw people in. And then there are the big names that cross over from not just the Olympics, but into mainstream sports and mainstream advertising. I think everyone knows who Shaun White is at this time. I mean, he's been on the cover of GQ, on the cover of Rolling Stone. He's already competed in 3 Olympic games, numerous X Games, so he's going for gold again at 35. So it's those sorts of stories that you hear about it from a human interest perspective, you get drawn in, and then not only are you watching for that story, but you pick up on other stories along the way.
Mike, there are a few new events at the Games, some mixed gender competitions that have been added in, and especially in skiing and snowboarding. What's the calculus behind adding these events, behind the moves?
Well, I think the word that you use there is opportunity, calculus. So they're thinking about ways to grow their audience, grow the winter sports. The Olympic Committee has done this for the Summer Games as well, having freestyle dancing and having other things that you don't normally think of as Olympic sports. This is not only a way to bring in, like you said, cross-gender competition and participation, but also, quite frankly, just to have a PR push to say, hey, look at these new events. It's not just downhill skiing. It's not just figure skating. It's not just bobsledding. These are the things that are going to draw in, again, that human interest level, that casual viewer. And right now, the Olympic Games, we saw the viewership down very much so for the Summer Games. That's been pushed back. Obviously not on schedule. This year's Winter Games are going to be on schedule, but I think ratings are going to be a challenge. Attention is going to be a challenge. Certainly here in the States, a lot of sporting attention is on the Super Bowl coming up. So these Olympics fall into a very precarious attention span segment of the viewing audience for Americans, at least.
All right, opening ceremony getting underway in just a few hours from now. Mike Bako, great to see you. Thank you so much.